Hi everybody and welcome back. Now we are here in a place that few people ever get to see, Paul Goodnight's actual working studio. Now Paul, I can't believe that in your studio, basically there's none of your own artwork. Why is that?
Well, I love the spirit of other people's work, other people's creations. And also, I'm a great art thief. So I look at the nuances of the things that they might do and see how I can incorporate in my own work. The other part of that is that when John Biggers, I always refer to him, John always would tell me, he says, do you have any artwork that you yourself would not sell? And I said, yeah, I would like to keep a lot of the works that I really like. He goes, no. He said, the work that you do doesn't belong to you. The work that you do belongs to somebody else. It's like having a child. The child doesn't belong to you. It's created through you and your wife or the other person, and then you send it out to the world. And that's when it's appreciated most. And I said, wow, that makes a lot of sense to me. And he said, as a matter of fact, the more work that you have on your walls that you've done, you have a tendency of almost duplicating yourself. He said, you want to create, you don't want to continue to duplicate.
When you're facing a blank page and then you create something like this, what kind of emotions, what kind of feelings are coming forth as you see it really come to fruition?
Well, there's a point of where the piece doesn't come together and there's frustration, but you work it through. You work it through. You just keep doing things like this. The process is what really determines what's going to happen. This may change all over again, and that's good because the creative process is just about change.
Paul, what sets your work apart, in my mind anyway, is the incredible use of colors. I mean, you have a very unconventional approach with the use of color here. How does that play into what you're trying to ultimately convey?
You know, the color is the only thing that I don't understand, but I'm very comfortable with. I choose colors that are a comfort zone. And to me, that's really the candy, that's the icing on the piece. I have no sense of what I'm doing, other than sometimes I know there are complementary colors that work well against another color. But color, to me, if somebody asks me, well, what are you doing with the color? I say, I have no idea. And that's the great part about it, is that I choose colors as I feel them.
Show me some of the ways that you will create some of these strokes on the canvas here.
Well, I'll always work dark against light. So this one right here, this is the back of the person's calf. So I'll apply this one, and I'll look at not only the color, but the texture, and I'll come down here. I also use, this is what is called the hard pastel, and this is a very soft pastel. So the hard pastel, where I'll get more gritty line, or not only a grittier line, but a sharper line, like in here. And that accents the rhythm of the piece, So I'm making your eye move from this area all the way up over here and all the way over there. So I'm constantly, if I'm thinking about something, that's the thing that I'm constantly thinking about. And then I'm trying to accent that rhythm. So it's a continuous rhythm. And the accent comes from the darks and the lights and the textures and that. So that's if I'm thinking about anything, that's where I sit and I concern myself with that area, or that does the piece move. Then I'll stand back and I'll look at it for too long and try to overanalyze it, and then I'll come back and forget all about what I've analyzed.
You're getting a great sense of just hand to canvas touch, that very tactile feel. What does that feel like for you as you're creating this, as it happens?
When you're on, it feels wonderful. When you're off, you're trying to figure it out. But you work yourself through it. It's great to be out of control with things. I mean, it's a yin-yang concept. Part of your life is out of control, part of your life is in control. If you find somebody who's in control all the time, it's totally out of control. Because there's no way in the world that you can stay in control of your life or anybody else's life. And that's I like that philosophy that, you know, part of this has to be out of control, part of it has to be in control. And to make this thing work, it's a nice little balance. That's why it's not always clear of what this image is until it starts to really develop. And I don't do things that are so finite that it looks like a photograph. I do things that feel like what the image is doing, or what the person is doing, or whatever the subject is doing.
Now, Paul, I understand that you're designing some artwork for the Summer Olympic Games, aren't you?
Yes, this is my second time. I've been very fortunate to be able to get that. Usually they take about 15 different artists for the Olympic Summer Games from around the world to do an event. The event that they chose for me was the triathlon, which is swimming, running, and bicycling. So I have to do what they call a triptych. That's 3 paintings doing one subject. This is the swimming, and I kind of wanted to get this kind of the swimmers going in rotation, because they go out to one point and they come back to one point. So if you look at this piece here, it all kind of goes in one rotation. They start, they swim, they continue to swim. This guy here shows you the effect of a long distance swim. Then this guy cuts him back toward this area here where you see the big elongated swimmers. And these 2 swimmers are finishing up.
What type of lessons do you want the people who appreciate your art to take from your work?
I don't know if I do. I'm not sure if there is a real, I think sometimes it's in the relationship of the work and the person who's viewing it. If you find yourself finding that particular piece interesting for one of the many reasons, whether it's just the mechanics of it, the aesthetics of it, the culture, something might be cultural that you can identify historically, educationally, I'm not sure. Or maybe just the pure beauty of a piece. I'm not so much of want people to be carried away with something that I said. I like to have dialogue to find out what they're saying and back and forth. Like I say, it's always been a means for communication with me.
Coming up next, we'll show you how others are incredibly inspired by Paul Goodnight's work. Stay with us.